We are in the back of the trap, man. We are fixing the grind. Let's get it. And today we can go forward on the door panels that we have been working on. Beside me, I have the Chevrolet Tahoe. It has this big old crazy sundown subwoofer in it. Big old port. With all that bass, it needs a little bit more voice, and that's where I come into play. Your boy went ahead and took the door panels off the Chevy Tahoe, got them to the backyard, got some soap, cleaned them up, got some surface white prep, got them cleaned up. Then we hit it with some masking tape. Your boy laid down some fiberglass mat, mixed up some resin, made some fiberglass molds, and here we are now. Here are some quick tools that I will be using today to release the door panel and to cut and shape the door panel that we need in order to continue these door panels. First, we have a Makita grinder. It actually has a sanding disc on it, but I actually got some cutoff wheels for it that I will be using because I have used an air saw, jigsaw, cutting these door panels, these fiberglass molds to a certain shape. And let me tell you, it's so easy cutting it with the cutoff wheel. I regret not trying it a long time ago. Once I actually started doing this, guys, I have not looked back ever since that. Here I have my plastic pry bar that I got. I will be using this in case I need to actually put a little bit more strength and leverage on releasing the fiberglass mold. I got the plastic pry bar because it is a plastic door panel, and if I were to use a regular flathead screwdriver, I may gouge that door up, and the last thing is I want is gouge marks or anything crazy going on the door panel. I'd rather just make sure that I play it safe and use this guy. This is fiberglass, and I do got some rubber gloves that we'll be using because the last thing is I want my hands getting dirty because I still have to touch other things. I still got to touch my camera, and the last thing is I want is fiberglass on my camera. Got some acetone right here that I will be using to clean the door panel. I call it giving the door panel a bath. That just gets, the acetone actually just gets off any extra fiberglass residue on it. Although I really don't feel the door panel being actually tacky, we will just give it a quick little rinse down with acetone just to get all that extra off. There may be a little bit more stickier residue on the back of it, but we will find out once we release the door. Next, we have a DA sounder because I will be smoothing out the edges, and I'll just be running it quick on the door panel because once we get to the stage on putting wood rings on the door panel and we mount them, I am going to need a good surface to mount and hot glue my stools for the rings. So that'll come into play later on in the videos. Don't forget that. Obviously, we got an air blower. We are going to be cutting fiberglass, and it is going to get pretty messy, so it's always good to have one of these guys. I do have a few metal bars that I got right here as well, too. I will be using these as straight edges to make straight lines for the door panels where we're going to have to cut, basically like a cut line. They are flexible and bendable, so it's pretty good. It's going to be pretty good because the doors do have curves, and I need to be able to get nice straight lines with that curve on it. As well, I got a speaker ring that I will be using to make some rounded corners as well too. This is going to come in handy. You'll see in the video how it comes handy. And then I have an L bracket right here that's flat that I can get in spots that it's too big to put for these bigger flat bars. I am going to start by turning the door panel upside down, and I am going to just lightly remove any masking tape that's from the bottom of the door panel. That gives me a little bit of more play on getting this fiberglass mold off because after it bonds and it sits for a day, man, that thing is really on there. I usually start off on the far end corner and lightly pull upwards to myself. If it needs a little bit of extra help, I got a plastic pry bar that I use that I just stick in there a little bit and I pry it off. I use the plastic pry bar because it's not going to gouge up the door because you never know where my molds can actually sit after I'm done cutting it out. And the last thing is I want to have is some ugly gouges on the door panel. It's not going to look very professional, and then I'm going to think that I didn't do a good job building this door panel. It will pull off on its own. You just have to know how to work around it. If you really put some serious strength into it, don't forget it is fiberglass and it has that wood glass in it, so it's still breakable. Now that we got our fiberglass mold released from the door panel itself, we need to go ahead and get leftover tape off the door panel itself and remove any extra tape that's on the actual fiberglass mold on the back of it, and then we need to go ahead and give it a quick little wash with some acetone. Now that our fiberglass mold is released from the door panel itself, we can finally give it a quick clean down / wash with some acetone on. The last thing is I want is the door panel to be sticky while I'm working with it. The same while I'm cutting it with the cutoff wheel. It'll just make more gunk. It'll probably make the blade work a lot harder. And why go through that when we can just take 5 minutes of our time and clean it up with some acetone? The door panel is not that tacky like I thought it was gonna be. We're just gonna give it a quick little wipe down with it. Nothing too crazy, just enough to get some acetone on her, clean her up, and be ready for the next step. Now that we have one solid ass fiberglass mold to build a speaker pod slash door panel, whatever you want to call it, and we just got done giving it a wash, we can finally draw its cutout lines on her. There are probably people that watch my video and go crazy watching the stuff that I use to in order to make shapes, to build, you know, etc, etc. You know, everything that I use to build these car audio systems that I do at the house, in the backyard, or in the garage. And I know that they make tools that I could use to probably make my life a little bit better, but maybe sometimes people don't have access to it, and sometimes the people that don't have access to that are watching these type of videos in order for them to get started on their project. You know, why waiting to find this or waiting to save up for that when you have almost the same exact thing laying around in your household that you could use to get started and get your project going. I have a lot of speakers, a few tweeters, and one big old horn that I got to put on this door panel. So I am going to make this door panel as big as possible because it's going to all play out later on in the build when I get to mounting these rings. As you can see, all the tools, metal bars, and everything that I'm using in order to get the shape of the door panel that I want, that I will be cutting out, everything's working out for me good. There's my son again. He likes to get in the video. Say what's up, man. What's up? All right, so we have our lines pretty much drawn out. They look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the door panel.
Wait.
What? He wants a Ninja Turtle. I'm about to put a cutoff wheel on my grinder, and we're gonna get to cutting this door panel out, man. Let's get it. Look, remember what our door panel actually looked the other day? Check it out. Now check it out now. Door panel looks good. We are actually just a few days away from actually getting to start some woodworking. We still got to make some tweeter rings. We got to make horn rings. I'm waiting for speaker rings to arrive in the mail. But overall, man, our mold is coming out really badass. Always definitely repeat the same steps for the other door panel that you're building, or if you got three other door panels front and rear, repeat the same steps and you're gonna have an awesome outcome like this, man. Definitely watch the videos previously on these door panel builds if you want to learn how to build some door panels in the comfort of your backyard. But for now, man, your boy's gonna get cleaned up, edit the video, let you guys watch this, and I'm gonna get cracking on the next one. Let's get it. Subscribe.